I keep wanting to call this the Green Inferno, but that's a crap movie and an insult to the Netflix limited series Green Frontier. A detective is called in from Bogota to investigate the murder of some nuns that happens in the Amazon. And while there, she finds herself immersed in this world of crime, mystery, evil, and magic. The filming of this series is just stunning. The quality of the shots were just mesmerizing to me. I mean, there is this one that shows just the grandeur of the Amazon, and it is this huge aerial shot, and all you can see in the frame is horizon and jungle top. And while it kind of looks big, then you notice that there is a helicopter flying above it, and it is just crazy at how it illustrates how large this area of land is. And it was just beautiful because we get to see it sometimes at dusk, at sunset, full, just full sunlight, or even as the clouds are rolling through, or the mist, I guess you could call it, and it's a rainforest. So yeah, just all of that going on in that ecosystem, just beautiful to see. But it's not all just limited to these huge, wide, expansive shots. There are so many intimate, just close-up shots that are beautiful to look at, that really frame our characters and just draw us into what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, what they're feeling, and just, I loved it. There's a lot of mystery that's going on in this show, and it's not just who killed the nuns. We have our detective, Helena, who she's just going up a whole lot of misogyny and just all these cultural barriers. I found the cultural clash to be really interesting. I mean, you have several different cultures at play within this series. First, there's the loggers, and I mean, they're there to cut down the trees. Duh, that's what they do. And so they're kind of at opposition to just about everybody, but it is part of the economy, so it plays a little bit in there. But they're not really a huge, at least, power play in the series and in the story itself. I mean, what they're doing helps move the story along, and it serves a purpose, but there's not a lot of characters of that. So it's not like, these are just this huge driving force. It's just something that's going on as the series progresses. Then we have the cops, who may or may not be corrupt. I mean, at the very least, a lot of them are just lazy, and they're just unmotivated to do anything, including solving the murders of the nuns. Then you have this group of indigenous people who they don't live in towns or in villages that are outside the jungle. They live in the jungle, but they're still kind of connected to the outside world. Then we have this group called the uncontacted, and these people are they're tribal. They don't interact with the outside world at all. And so when we see them, they obviously look different, they dress different, just everything about them is completely different. And between all of these groups, that's where the magic and the mysticism begins to really take form and play. And you even have this belief that goes through just a lot of the people that the jungle is the heart of the earth, and that all life flows from the jungle. Some people are there to protect the jungle, and we see that play out in a series of flashbacks, especially as they oppose the loggers and other forms of evil. Now, the flashbacks go in and out seamlessly, which is also a little bit of a problem at the beginning, because it's so seamless that you can't tell what time we're in now. I can't see if we're in the past or if we're in the present, and it's really hard to tell because a lot of the time the flashbacks begin or end with one of the uncontacted. And so they don't look like modern day dress. So it's really hard to tell any type of time. And then just because it's the jungle, a lot of people are just kind of wearing fatigues or just, olive drab type of color with, some cargo pants or just, regular button up shirts. And so you don't also have a good grounding for what time it is. But all that being said, I did find myself maybe halfway through the first episode, definitely by the second episode, I fully had gotten my footing. I understood when it would switch back and forth between the times, and I was raring to go. As the series goes on, you can't help but feel a bit of Avatar. I mean, just how everything is connected through the jungle and how just history and life and everything flows through it. Now, that's not a bad thing that I can feel and see Avatar in this. It just makes it familiar. Now, this is a limited series on Netflix, and it's pretty enjoyable, except kind of for the ending. I felt that it was kind of abrupt and just didn't really fit in as well. I mean, it was just kind of vague, but not in a way like, oh, we're going to leave the ending up to you. No, it just kind of ended. sort of like a French film. A little bit of the story does feel like it comes out of nowhere, like they drop this huge bombshell and then they just run away and leave it there. Now, I see from the whole picture what they were trying to do, but it felt just a little chunky, or a little clunky rather, when doing this in the story, because it would have felt a little bit more developed had it been interwoven throughout versus like, oh, boom, here, this is this motivation, and we're just going to leave it there. And, you know, it kind of ties in the rest of everything, and it ties in a little bit from beginning, but we're not overt about it. And it felt like, boom, dropped it. Okay, here we go. But overall, it's still a good watch and something that I did enjoy, especially from a cultural perspective, just getting to see new and different people groups and just learning how they functioned. I found it fascinating, and the story drew me in for the most part. There is some sex and profanity. There is a lot of nudity. Some of it is just tribal nudity, but there you go. And there is a lot of violence. I give Green Frontier 4 out of 5 couches. So if you had the opportunity to swim in the Amazon River, would you? I don't know if I would, just because of all the things that I've seen kind of that swim through there, you know, whatever that show, that documentary was, where that dude would catch just weird things in the Amazon and different rivers. Ugh, no thanks. But anyway, let me know if you would do that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.